I have a sword and shield. You might be like deal, but hacking slashing all day now. In case you're wondering why the sword's beat up, I did that for my cosplay, so it looked like a beat up sword. But anywho, today we're talking about Hyrule Warriors for the Wii U, which only came out just 2 days ago for me, and I had completed the game yesterday. It took me, I believe, 11 hours and 30-something minutes to just go through the story mode, and there's still more content in the game. So, if you're just interested in the story mode and not using lots of the characters, that's about how much time it took me to beat. Now, if you're going to use lots of characters, replay the game, do co-op, or do the Italian Venture mode, that's going to add more time. So anyway, Hyrule Warriors. Its physical presentation, it looks very nice, sleek. The booklet actually has color in it. Yay for color! But there's only a few pages in it. But it is nice to see a color booklet. It has 3 languages, and that's it. That's all for us in the English. That's it. And then there's 2 other languages, though. Just like Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, the Club Nintendo stuff's in the case again, which I really think they need to do something where it's just visible on this side. That would be nicer for me. And it offers multiple play styles, where you can use the gamepad, the Pro Controller, or just the Wii's controller and nunchuck, which I don't think that would be as good. I haven't tried either of those two, but I think those are better, but I don't see that being a horrible problem since it doesn't use motion, but it might be a little odd for some of the buttons, I would think. And it also has 2 player modes, so it offers a nice array of fun into the game. So what is Hyrule Warriors? Hyrule Warriors is, well, basically a Dynasty Warriors game by the creators of Dynasty Warriors with Nintendo, and a very Legend of Zelda paint coat on it. But is this simply slapping Legend of Zelda characters' skins on Dynasty Warriors, or is it bringing its own A-game to the game? But to be honest, I really liked the game. It's really nice mix of the 2 elements. And I think it's a much more successful kind of crossover kind of idea. Obviously being more of a concept and gameplay and not necessarily 2 character franchises is what I mean in that. But I would say it's a more successful crossover than the Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright in that aspect. It really plays a lot like a Dynasty Warriors game, but yet it brings its A game of throwing Legend of Zelda-like concepts. For example, you can use the hookshot, bow, bombs, and all kinds of other items. In a Dynasty Warriors game, you basically can only use a bow, and that has limited ammunition in that. I mean, items don't play a part in Dynasty Warriors. Like, at all, really. Very rarely, if anything. Because, beware, I haven't played the most modern Dynasty Warriors games, so I guess that could possibly be changed. But I have most of the original franchise and some of the early PS3 and 360 games, and items never were a big thing. But there's that. You do have multiple characters, just like a Dynasty Warriors game, but in my opinion, I think there's a lot nicer playstyles in the characters, being a more diverse game when it comes to races, obviously, because, I mean, you have humans in Dynasty Warriors, and yeah, you got humans because it's based on Chinese mythological event. Well, not mythological, but historical events. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's based on Chinese war. Trying to get all Asian-y mythological. Anywho, but of course in The Legend of Zelda, you know, you have multiple races in that, which are taken advantage of. You have Link, Zelda, Impa, who are obviously human-like characters, but then you have the Zolos, the Goros, you have Medine. I mean, you have a lovely array of different characters, and they all have weird, interesting play styles. Hell, you even get to unlock Ganondorf. Mr. Ganondorf! I mean, Gandalf. I just love calling him Ganondorf, though. It's just hard. I blame Legendary Fog and Alfred Ashford. You didn't hear that. would get if you don't watch Legendary Fog videos. Anywho, so I really feel that I got to play a good number of the characters. I didn't do it during my Twitch, but I got to play a nice way of the characters now, and I think that was very nice. And what I also like is, unlike Dynasty Warriors game, most of the characters, but not all of them, have multiple playstyles. Basically 2 for pretty much every character, except for, I believe, Gandalf doesn't get a second one. I haven't found one for Medine. Sometimes I always feel like I'm saying her name wrong and I'm like, Medine. Character from Twilight. But, so I'm not 100% sure if she gets another one. I think she might also only get one. But Link and Impa and that, they get a secondary weapon, and it gives them a whole different playstyle. Link gets the Fire Staff, so it's obviously a completely different concept from his shield and sword and that. Because it does all kinds of magical flames and shit and flame-throwing actions. So, I mean, even some of the characters double as a completely different playstyle, and they also have a branching tree system of skills and abilities, and a lot of these are basically copy-paste on every character. They're mostly resistance, using potions and such, or having more damage and that. So the kind of skill tree thing that requires materials you get from your battlefield, or copy and pasted basically on every character. And there's a smithing option where you can carry over special abilities to better swords and weapons you find, which is an element that's in a few Dynasty Warriors games, but not in a whole lot really messing with weapons. Mostly you just level up, and this is, I believe this is the first Zelda game, I'm pretty sure off the top of my head, that involves a leveling system. RPG mechanics in a Zelda game. And yes, I know that some people count Legend of Zelda as an RPG game. I've always disagreed with that. But I guess now you can actually make a legitimate argument on that now for once. Yay! Please don't start a whole discussion about that in the comments down below, please. And the game is very colorful. I love the graphics. It looks really good. There are some slowdown issues, obviously, in a game that has tons of units everywhere, but there was only a few minor aspects of the game that I really experienced really heavy slowdown. So for the most part, the game ran really well. Tons of color in a lot of areas. Excuse me. A lot of the areas are very colorful, but then at the same time, those really dreaded, horrible-looking places like the very last stage, caves, and some of the areas some of the major villains are in. But there's a nice way of color and disarray and shit. But it's really odd seeing a Dynasty Warriors like style hack and slash game. Like the very first stage is probably one of the most vibrant, colorful areas in the game. It's just really, really odd to be in this really big war hack and slash style game with all the color that's in there. It's just like really odd and very refreshing. It's very refreshing in my opinion. And you do have the blocking options and then the Z targeting kind of system in the game. It basically functions a lot like the Z targeting, where if you hold it in with the shield net, you even act like where you strife side to side. So it has some reminder towards that. Now you do have a combo kind of gauge thing, you know, as you kill stuff and hit shit and stuff, it builds up and you can use a super move and shit, like a Dynasty Warriors game. And health bar is using the classic traditional Zelda's Heart Needle. But it doesn't really work like a Heart Needle. Early on it does, but later boss fights and special monsters and shit, hell, there's ones, and I just played it normal by the way, there were ones that like hit you and bam, 5 hearts gone and shit. I didn't find a lot of hearts in the game. There are a lot. You do find heart containers and stuff, and chests and that, which you don't do in Dynasty Warriors. The few things you collect in Dynasty Warriors are usually pots or dropped from enemies, and you just collect them. There's a lot of chests you can find that can contain just random stuff of hearts and that, but they can contain heart pieces and things also. And each character shares their own heart system. They don't. Well, did I say share? They don't share their own heart. They each have their own individual hearts. So if you find one heart container thing, that's meant for that character you're playing. So different stages contain heart pieces for different characters. It's not like I need to do this stage with all these characters and get that one piece of heart for all of them. So a lot of the additional stuff, additional weapons, heart pieces, and a few additional characters are in the eventual mode. The eventual mode is the attempt to basically throw some extra gameplay into the game. Basically, you have the original Legend of Zelda 1 map presented to you, and you can pick characters, and it's really nice because you can see a lot of 8-bit sprites of characters who never even existed in that day and age of Zelda. So that's a nice little humorous touch, but you're not playing an 8-bit game. Each map tile piece, just like the map for Zelda 1, has a challenge mode. You'll be thrown into an area that might have been in the story, or might be just a preset cut piece, or just its own land piece for this mode only. But you're basically presented with a goal, like defeat 1,000 enemies in 10 minutes, kill 10 Dodongos, or something like that. And sometimes there are restrictions on characters and what you can do and such. And these have a lot of unlockables. There are additional characters, specifically one I kind of call bullshit on, but I won't spoil that. They're in the story mode, but once you beat the story mode, you'll obviously know who I'm talking about. But there are additional characters, and there is supposedly planned DLC of additional characters in that, but no stages as far as I understand. Something that's missing in this game, though, that's very common in Dynasty Warriors games, is horses. Dynasty Warriors, a lot of times you can get horses ride and gallop really fast. The characters run pretty abnormally fast all the way in the game, and I'm pretty sure this is because there are no horses in the game. So obviously they probably balance the characters to all be just a little bit faster when they go full speed running. And that doesn't really make it a problem to get around the map, to be honest. It's pretty decent speed in that to get around. And most of the maps are pretty decent size. There's some really nice big battles. There's some short ones, there's some medium ones. There's a nice variety. Now, the story of the game, the Hyrule Warriors itself is its own time period of Zelda, and supposedly this game has always been confirmed by Nintendo not to be a part of the Zelda timeline officially. But the characters Link, Zelda, and Impa that are in the beginning game aren't associated with a pre-existing Zelda game. Now, other characters, I'm sure you know through trailers and stuff, you already know characters from like Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess and shit appear in this game, and that's because time travel and shit gets mixed up, and basically the whole fucking Hyrule's legacy and shit's basically at the core of the story in a way, but it's not the main issue of what's brought up. Basically, to put it simply, there was a sorceress who watched the Triforce through all the incarnations of things that have happened throughout the history of Hyrule, and she falls in love with the hero, and basically that led to a small seed of darkness that Ganon used to basically make her a puppet to try and, you know, do the usual take over the world plan. Now, there are some snags and twists for both sides and shit, but I'm sure anyone with a half-baked mind in the Zelda franchise already knows probably how it's going to end, though. But it's still good, it's fun, even though it's probably pretty obvious how the very end. But there are a few nice twists during the middle range. Now, in the middle range, there is a whole cross-time part where you interact with the other time periods. You basically go into Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, and Ocarina of Time's time period and go through a few stages in their areas and interact with characters, and those characters help follow into this. Now, the game never really explains where the Hyrulean Warriors characters are in the timeline. But since Ocarina of Time is one of the older games, which I believe the Minish Cap and Skyward Sword are the only other two titles that preset it, Twilight Princess, I believe, is considered the middle range of one of the three splits, and yeah, Skyward Sword's before Ocarina of Time, so it's probably safe to say you could actually argue it takes place in the timeline Twilight Princess is in, actually, when you think about it, since titles in the other two splits don't appear in it. Could be some interesting theorizing now, but it never really states where it is, but I would assume these are all past events and not anything to do with the future. I'm assuming the Hyrulean Warriors in its separate little bubble from the franchise is in the future of these titles, I would assume, but it's never really stated. What more is there to really say? It does have two-player mode, like I said. Now, I don't know for sure, but to my understanding from what I read, you have to complete a stage to make it enabled for two-player. From my understanding, you can't two-player a story stage if you haven't beaten it yet. Though I'm not 100% on that, because I don't have anyone over to play for a while. Aaron's been busy and such, so, you know, I came from Utah and stuff and been busy with getting a lot of that stuff organized and that. I still have to unpack some of my clothing, take it to the laundromat to get done and such. I haven't gotten a lot of that. I've only really washed my solid shorts and most of my other normal clothing, obviously. I haven't really touched any of the shorts I brought to Utah that yet, so those will actually still do it, but we're getting off topic now. Anyway. I don't think there's a whole lot more to talk about. There is a challenge mode, there is a lot of nice remix music. Actually, the music's actually really good too, though obviously music varies on particular taste. It has a lot of remixed kind of walk and roll guitar kind of songs with some of the Zelda, and there are some specific songs for the title itself. I think a lot of them are pretty nice for the kind of Dynasty Warriors mindset. I mean, if you're used to a Dynasty Warriors game, you're used to that kind of music. Because if you're not, you have a high tolerance for it. Then if you're a fan of Dynasty Warriors, but you don't like the music, which ain't impossible. But pretty much, I think it's a really refreshing title, and at the end, it's a really refreshing title. If you're a Dynasty Warriors fan, it's refreshing with some of the new elements of having actual tools and such you can use during combat, and not simply rely on a kind of crappy first-person bow thing only. And for The Legend of Zelda, obviously, it's a really refreshing take, because you've never experienced anything remotely like this in a Legend of Zelda game ever, like fight thousands of enemies and shit in a Zelda game. So really, I just really like the game. It's really refreshing, because I'm really burnt out in games like Dynasty Warriors, so it was really refreshing to me. Now, is it a system so? No. I can answer that now. Averagely, I'd say probably most people beat it in 10 to 12 hours if they just trying to shoot through the story. Probably all the content would probably take 20, 30 hours probably to do if you wanted to like unlock everything and do everything in the game probably. So it has a decent lifespan. Obviously the story amount time is probably a bit on the short side for a $60 title. But it does offer some additional content. There is no online interaction with players, though it does have Miiverse interactions, where the game can post, obviously like a lot of Nintendo games have been doing lately, is the game incorporates its own achievement system, which I always find it weird, especially when it's an actual Nintendo title like this. Like, why you bother incorporating these in the game, but your system doesn't really support. Of course, to me, achievements and trophies have gone way old. Like, I liked them back when they were new and refreshing, and they sometimes kind of added a wacky to-do list kind of thing. But now they're just pretty boring and bland, and I don't even remember the last achievement trophy list of things that was even remotely interesting to even bother doing. So, but, I mean, I don't know why they keep incorporating a kind of achievement system in each game, but they decide not to do it for the new system. I mean, I remember there was an interview where they specifically thought it kind of like countered the whole idea of a game, like you're telling the player, and I get it, I'm not saying it's a bad argument or anything, I'm just saying then why is there this achievement-like system? But anyway, you can have your medals you get posted on your Miiverse page and that, but nothing really particularly special or anything now. Aside from that, there's not really much else. I mean, it's a hack and slash Legend of Zelda game. It's not completely stupid, but it's not something you need to really invest tons of mind work in. And it does have easy, normal, and hard. I did normal. There were 2 stages in particular that gave a really good challenge to me. So I would think hard mode, if you really want a good challenge, hard mode would probably really make sure to crank it up probably. But in the end, I really enjoyed the game. I recommend it. If you have a Wii U, there's like no, unless you don't like Dynasty Warriors style games, there's no reason to pick this up for your Wii U. It's now justifying the $60, like I said, like with the story mode. If the extra content is interesting, $60 ain't much. But if you're just solely interested in starting the story and getting to the end and shelf it away, you might want to wait for a bit of a price drop, because like I said, it took me 11 hours and about 11 hours and a half to beat the game, so that's a little questionable. I did enjoy the game, so I don't really regret buying it. So that part you'll have to kind of voices your thoughts on what you consider worthy of $60 or not. If not, you know, I'd say probably maybe $40 if you're only interested in the story. It's a really fun game. I really liked it. I found it refreshing for both franchises. And I want to actually play the co-op mode, and I want to do some of the eventual mode. I want to unlock 2 killers specifically. I want to try them out, because I'm really interested in one's playstyle, and the other one's just waddle. But either way, I enjoyed the game. I think it's worthy to go buy. I think it's worth to go buy. But like I said, you know, depending on some of the aspects of the game you're more interested in or not, maybe $60 could be a little hard to justify a bit. As far as I understand, they're not going to complement the game with more levels or anything, just additional characters and skin changes. There was one for Ganondorf, there's a Dark Link skin you can get for Link, and I believe I heard they're going to add the horse Link uses in the N64 games into the title, which I'm not sure how that's going to work. Like, is it going to be a character, or are you going to actually be able to use it in combat as a character? Either one of those seems odd, because, like I said, there's no horses or anything in the game, so just suddenly adding a whole horse riding, fighting mechanic seems odd when the characters all weigh one at a very decent speed. And then playing as a horse in war to kill Ganon's army, or the new evil character's army, or one of the past villain character's armies, like... That idea is about as crazy as the wooden fighter dude in Tekken, or being the giant panda bear or something. It's just kind of ridiculous. Probably would be interesting though. But either way, those are my thoughts. If you have any questions or anything, please leave a comment down below. And the rest of the video, I made a pretty extra long gameplay video of this title, because I also showed the eventual mode off and a few other little tidbit things in the game. So if you're interested in the eventual the eventual mode, you'll probably have to skip a bit, because the first level in the game, I only showed the very first level of the game. And keep in mind also that all the items and stuff that I have currently in the game is only because I've been in the game. Like, you progressively get the items as you progress, you don't automatically start with everything. So, when you're replaying the stage, I was kind of surprised it just let me have everything, including the green tunic, which you don't even start with in the very first stage. So, that was actually a bit of a surprise to me. But yeah, just a little footnote. I should have said that at the beginning where I was thinking that earlier this morning when I wanted to do this recording, and for some reason, oopsie. But anyway, if you got any question or anything, please leave a comment down below, and I will get with you now. And if you also have the game, let me know what you think about it. You know, I like hearing whether you have good or bad things to say about the game. I'm interested in it. Anyway, until next time, I will see you all in the distant future. And praise the sun. Now somebody get me some pumpkin soup, damn it.
The Triforce is the harmonious union of power, wisdom, and courage. It has been the object of countless battles between the forces of light and darkness. Each time the Triforce fell into the clutches of evil, Hyrule was plunged into misery. But in every age, a hero, clad in green, would restore peace to the land. During one of these dark times, the legendary hero split the spirit of evil into 4 fragments, sealing each away to finally break the cycle of destruction. 3 of the fragments were scattered across time and space. The final fragment was sealed in a sacred temple built upon holy ground, imprisoned by the blade of evil's bane.